What's going on YouTube? Jeff Topner here on the Glorious Podcast with my Smackdown Live review, the November 21st, 2017 edition, and the long weekend of all, the big Survivor Series and all this stuff. It's all over finally. I'm not going to lie, I felt like I was a bit let down tonight with Smackdown in a way. As usual, I'm not really surprised at this point, but, I thought we were going to get a pretty good show tonight. I mean, at least from my eyes. I thought the show tonight was, mediocre, not really that good. I mean, it just uneventful. I mean, there was very few things I enjoyed tonight. A lot of just nonsense, the typical SmackDown stuff that we see every week. A tag team match main eventing. You have the added element of the lumberjack match, and then but still, it's just another tag match. I can't, it just gets annoying after a while. You just run the same thing over and over again. People get fed up with it. People get tired of it, and they need to change it up a bit on SmackDown because tonight just felt like another episode of SmackDown that I just we've seen like I feel like they're just all identical at this point the way they run them. But I mean let's dissect the show here, kind of give it a look, go in depth and see. I mean, there's really not much to go into, to be honest with you. I mean, we did get to see the women from NXT show up. That was cool. But that's about all I liked tonight, to be honest with you. I mean, that was the only part of the show I was in for. Everything else was just, you know, boring stuff. Boring, usual nonsense. I mean, oh, actually, take that back. I forgot about the Bludgeon Brothers. That was okay. I like their entrance is pretty decent. I'll give them that. It'll be interesting to see how they book them on SmackDown. They beat the Hype Bros. By no, obviously they beat the Hype Bros. Why would they lose? But I'll be interesting to see how they book them down the road on SmackDowns. How soon are they going to get in the title picture and all? But I don't know. I mean, their new gimmick, it's so far so good, I say. I mean, it was okay tonight. So it was cool seeing them finally show up after weeks and weeks of promos. And then obviously, like I said, the women, Ruby Riot, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan showing up from NXT. We saw the Raw invasion of the NXT women yesterday along with Paige. And then tonight we see SmackDown's version of it. I mean, at this point, I'm not like 99.9% sure that we're going to get a women's Royal Rumble match in January. I mean, it's virtually a guarantee at this point. The amount of women on both rosters, they have to be building up toward a women's Royal Rumble match. I mean, they just like completely unloaded all these NXT women and put them up on the main roster. I mean, Raw right now is stacked. I mean, if you want to say now, I guess you could say SmackDown stacked with the additions of Ruby Riot, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. I mean, now SmackDown went from really kind of having not much to being up there with about what is it, like 9 or 10 women now. So, you add it all up, I think it's around 20 women combined. So they could do a Royal Rumble, maybe like a 20 women Royal Rumble match at the pay per view in January. So just keep that in mind because I feel like we could be seeing that kind of like develop. Maybe an announcement coming soon, maybe with that. I don't know, but I'd be shocked really if they didn't because I mean it only makes sense to do it at this point. So that's probably part of the reason all these women are coming up. But a very similar debut by the women tonight that compared to last night. It was very just same thing almost. Kind of make a statement, attack the women. I kind of figured, I kind of knew right away once they attacked Naomi and Becky backstage that they were going to interfere in the Charlotte and Natalya match. I kind of saw that coming from a mile away. So I wasn't surprised there, but they made a statement. They made their debut. It was good. I liked that part of the show. Everything else was blah, the usual stuff. AJ Styles versus Jinder Mahal. I don't even want to talk about this. I can't take this anymore with these guys. Jinder Mahal, I've had it with Jinder Mahal. I really have. I just Survivor Series. I mean, not Survivor Series. Clash of Champions. That's probably going to be the main event of the pay per view. Boring match probably between Styles and Mahal. I said it on Twitter during the show. You know what WWE should just do? They should just take off the entire month of December. Not even do a show. Just take off. December's been it's always the worst month for WWE. There's no point of even doing a pay per view this month. I just really feel like with Christmas and all the holiday stuff, WWE just throws the towel in this month and just doesn't really put much of an effort up usually. I mean, I could be wrong. Could be a complete opposite this month. We could see a pretty good decent month of wrestling, but I don't think we're gonna see that. I think we're just gonna get half-assed shows throughout the month, and then things are gonna heat up January when once we hit January and the Royal Rumble build really starts to take in full effect. That's when I think things will get interesting again. I really think from this point on, unfortunately, it's gonna kind of suck. I mean, I don't want to see it suck. I don't want to see the shows be boring, but I have a feeling that's the route that we're gonna end up going here. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. I mean, I don't want to sit through a whole month of just boring wrestling, but man, if they, I mean, I know they won't do it, but man, they should just take off the entire month. It would be perfect. Take off, regroup. You know what I mean? Don't waste your time putting on, half-ass shows an entire month. Come up with better storylines. Come back strong for the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania build, and everything. That would be a perfect idea. Obviously, they won't do that because they just, that's the history of the WWE. They don't take off days. That's how they're unique in a way. They're not like sports or wherever we're gonna have off seasons. There's no off season in WWE. It's just straightforward every week in, week out. Raw, SmackDown, pay-per-views, whatever. So back to the show. Shelton Benjamin defeated Jey Uso. Okay match. The show opened. I was hoping for an opening. It was the usual kind of opening. Shane McMahon shows up, calls out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. He's about to fire him, and then Daniel Bryan comes out and then ends up announcing the tag match. As soon as they announced the tag match, I was just like, ugh, it's going to be one of those nights again. And it, of course, ended up being that. So, I mean, I don't know. SmackDown's just so boring anymore. I mean, it's a shame. It's a real shame. I feel like Vince played a role in that. I feel like Vince, in a way, almost doesn't want SmackDown to be good. He doesn't want. He fears SmackDown's better than Raw. It was better than Raw, so he was, panicking. He's like, I can't have the B show being better than the A show. So, he just went into panic mode, took all the good writers from SmackDown, threw them back on Monday Night Raw, and now Raw once again is, better than SmackDown again. And SmackDown's getting to that, you don't even need to watch kind of point again, where I feel like, you could skip the show like it used to be back when it was recorded and stuff a few years back, and basically every year before that, up until they started doing it live last year. So it's getting to that stage again, unfortunately. I mean, unless they turn things around, they might. I mean, every here and now you get a good episode where it's like, oh, that was a good episode. But I would say 75% of the SmackDowns anymore are just mediocre garbage shows that are just like they don't seem like they're worth watching. And that tonight was kind of one of them examples. I mean, you take away maybe all the women showing up, and the Bludgeon Brothers making their I wouldn't say debut. I mean re-debut in a way. Other than that, I mean, it was just your typical average episode of SmackDown. I mean, I just that's legit all there is really to talk about tonight. This is very short review, so it'll end up probably being under 10 minutes long. But the main event, I mean, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they win the match. They defeat the New Day, the Lumberjacks. The Lumberjacks end up just getting into a big brawl. And you know what else I noticed again tonight though? The Colognes were back again. I said this. They appeared in like the backstage segment last week at the beginning of SmackDown, and I remember saying like I didn't know if it was them, but I thought it was them. I'm like, when did they come back? I thought they like left the company or something a few months back. Well, they actually were there tonight, so that was indeed them the last week I saw on SmackDown. So I don't remember when the hell they returned or whatever. I could have sworn they left the company, like I don't remember exactly when, but like right after the brand split. I remember they kind of like repackaged them in a way. And then it looked like they were actually going to do something with them, and then that just completely went south, and then it was reported that they, like, left the company. All of a sudden, they've, like, appeared again, and they're back with the company. Like, I've lost my mind there. I'm confused as all hell. I'm going to have to do a little research on that to see exactly what the deal is there. But, yeah, they showed up. They were one of the Lumberjacks outside in the main event match. So, but Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn pick up the win. Then they hightail it after the match. Well, at least KO does. Sammy gets attacked, and then, KO goes backstage. Daniel Bryan says, next week we're going to get Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, which could be a very good match. It's actually an interesting match. I'm looking forward to that in a way. If it's the main event, I'm kind of up for it because it's not a tag team match. Anything's better than a tag team match main event every week. So, I mean, if that's the main event next week, props to them because it's something different for once. But as for tonight, tonight, it was kind of like, it's been a long 4 days rather, of wrestling. We had NXT, Survivor Series, Raw. I'm kind of tired out of wrestling too. I need a break now, you know what I mean? So, I didn't really even have any interest in watching SmackDown at all tonight. I was just really kind of watching because I was curious to see if the women from NXT would show up, which indeed they did. So, that's really the only reason I tuned in tonight if you think about it. But, yeah, so I think I've covered everything. I'm not going to go on much too longer here. So let me know what you guys thought of the show down in the comments below. Let me know if you thought tonight's SmackDown was good, bad, whatever you thought of it. Leave it down below. Go follow me on social media. Links will be in the description as always. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys sometime later this week with some more news videos right here on the Glorious Podcast.